System architecture varies wildly by industry, and working in digital transformation, we see a lot of the same systems over and over again. Behind me, you're going to see the typical systems model for an apparel organization. And I'm going to walk you through it and then show you what a potential future state would look like on the Dynamics 365 platform. So starting here with the typical system model for an apparel organization, we're assuming that they're a retail organization which has a point of sale that has connections automatic to a variety of peripherals. So being the receipt printer, the scanners that are connected, the displays like the line displays showing totals to the customer, even the cash drawer automatic popping in and out, having all of that automatically connected into the point of sale. A very typical system for a retailer, apparel retailer. And then you also have your e-commerce components. So most of the time, apparel organizations are leveraging an e-commerce site, this having an automatic integration into some sort of middleware that connects to the rest of the operational systems. So those are the two main channels that we see with apparel organizations. Of course, there's a lot of other variety there that you could have with marketplace like eBay or even TikTok shop or Instagram shop, things of that nature. But for simplicity, we have kind of our two main channels here. Within the operational systems model, you have kind of this cluster of systems that really support the fulfillment of orders and the tracking of the financials. So you have the order management system, which is normally ingesting the orders from point of sale as well as your e-commerce site and being able to report that against the financials. So having an integration against the financial system. This is normally doing things like categorizing items. It's grouping them by list and like items, getting them ready to be able to be fulfilled through your warehouse management system or your WMS. So very typical for an organization to have a WMS-like application, whether that's actually Excel for you. You know, some of these systems we can see completely replicated in Excel, but a manual integration being built between the OMS and the WMS for the fulfillment. You'll see all these lines on here are actually dashed lines. What we see by that what we mean by that is that it's a manual integration, not an automatic integration, like these solid lines here, where the data is flowing automatically back and forth between the systems. The dashed line means somebody has to manually pull data from one system and put it into the other. So you'll see the manual connection across the OMS, the WMS, and then up into the financial system as well. So this is typically like a QuickBooks or running something in Excel even for all of your accounting needs, but manually pushing and pulling data from OMS, WMS into the financial system. And then down here on the bottom, you have your PLM or your product lifecycle management system. Normally with small and mid-sized businesses, we see this being done in Excel, but this is all of the design of the products, the costing of the products, kind of the trialing of the products before they're actually ready to transact. And that is when it gets pushed into the OMS, the WMS, and the financial system as well. So you see really the combination of all these operational systems. And there's a lot of these areas for human error when pushing and pulling data across all these disparate systems. And then of course, you have your productivity tools over here on the left, which support all of these applications. So in this example, I'm just showing Excel, Teams, PowerPoint, Outlook. That's the Microsoft stack. You could be using potentially Google Workspace or something similar, but really just the manual pulling down of files into Excel or pulling them into a shared drive within Teams, not this sort of connectivity that we would see kind of in the future state. Which brings me to the future state with Business Central. So here is a potential future state for you as an apparel organization when running Dynamics 365 Business Central as your ERP. So you can see we've consolidated a lot of the operational systems that came from your as-is state. So financials, sales, purchasing, inventory, your OMS, WMS, and PLM are now all included inside of Business Central. But you'll see in green all the areas that are now included that are new, like our point of sale, artificial intelligence, as well as a customer relationship management tool built into Business Central. You'll also notice this spaghetti nest of all of the different interconnected integrations that were manual on our old as-is state are now replaced by a holistic system with Business Central. So they all exist on the same system. So having built-in reporting, pulling data from each, is just really more seamless than having in your older as-is state where it's a lot of mess pulling and pushing data across disparate systems. Really, the two areas that we see typically as still external systems being the e-commerce site, still existing as external, so whether Shopify, BigCommerce, or whatever that e-commerce platform is that you're leveraging, but having an automatic integration that exists between Business Central and the e-commerce site for the pulling and pushing of products, inventory, orders, refunds, things of that nature. And then on our productivity tools, so Excel, Word, Teams, Outlook, all of those, there's now, because it's a Microsoft product, the ability to have this integrated automatically as well. So managing data inside of Excel and it's automatically being reflected inside of Business Central. So no more of this manual pulling and pushing and really having this sort of this manual feel to your system. You have a holistic center of all of your data, or a single source of truth, as we like to call it in the industry, for all of your business data. So this is a potential future state of running on Dynamics 365 Business Central for an apparel organization. Of course, there's lots of different setups that you could see potentially here with future channels like B2B or maybe EDI, but this is the most typical that we see in the industry and definitely the most streamlined that we see. So hopefully you got some value out of this video and looking forward to working with you.